Hi all, you can find the demo at the end of the video. Let's start building the project from Spring Initializer. Go to Spring Initializer, add the following dependency. First Spring Web, next Spring JPA, and next is H2 database. And the last one is Google Auth, and you won't find that in Spring Initializer. Get to MVN repo and search for Google Auth, you will find. Add this to your project and import the project to the IDE. Let's start with the service class. Create a different package for a service and create a class in it. Google Auth service. Annotate it with @service. We will write our main logic in this class. Don't worry, it's very simple and you won't find any complex logic here. Everything you will get from Google Auth library. Let's create an object for it. At the very first, we will create a method to generate key. Don't worry, I will explain what is the key, then we will create a method. A key is a simple encoded string of length 16. Every 30 seconds, both the server and the client uses a key to generate a code, and you see that code in your Google Authenticator app. Hope you understand what is the key. Now let's have a simple method to generate that key. Final, let's keep it as final, and a Google Authenticator key. It's the type of the key. Data type is equal to GAuth dot create credentials and a key dot get key. That's it. Now this method will generate a key. Now we will create another method that will help us to save the users. Actually, we are going to register a user. We will get a username, password, and the unique key which is generated from the above method. Let's create a model that holds these three values and a repository so that we could access the CRUD operation of JPA. I will create a repository and the model. Give me a minute. And we will keep in a separate package. Let's name it DTO and create a class user register data, and we will import that class, and we will create another package for the repository. Let's name it as repo for the package and create an interface in it. Google Auth repo. Let extends the JPA repository, and the model is user register data, and the primary key is long. Okay. Next in user register data, let's have a parameters. First ID, and next username, next password, and the last is the key. Let's annotate it properly. Let's annotate it at the rate entity and at the rate id and at the rate generated value, at the rate generated value strategy equal to generation type dot identical. And we will have getters and setters for all these 4 variables, and the constructor also. And get back to the service class. Let's inject the repository we have created. Now let's create a DTO for user register data. We will have only the username and the password, because these are the values we will get from the users. Let's also have constructors, getters, setters for this class. Basically, this class helps us to get the username and password from the user, and we will save along with the key in the database. Now let's create a different package for controller. And a class named Google Auth controller. Let's annotate it with at the rate rest controller and inject the service. Now let's create a endpoint that will get the username and password using the user DTO data, and we will save in the H2 database in the user register data model as a user register data model. Request body user register DTO, and inside the method we will create a new user register data. And we try catch block, and we will create a secret key for each user. For that we will get the method from GAuth service. Now assigning the values like user register data dot set password, we will get the password from the DTO user register DTO dot get password. Similarly, set username for user register data, and I will get the username from the user register DTO, and user register data dot set key, and we'll pass the string secret key. That's it. And this will now save the user in the DB. Each user will have a unique key. Now GAuth dot add user, and we will pass that user register data. That's response entity dot add user, and we will catch exception, and we will sys out that exception. Now return entity dot status 500 dot body ex dot get message. That's it. And don't forget to add the post mapping and the URL above the method. And get back to service class again, and we will create 2 more methods. One is for login, another one is to check whether the OTP sent from the client is same OTP which is shown in Google Auth app. Okay, let's create a method for checking, and this method will take the key and the code is that OTP, and we have an inbuilt method to check it from the Google Auth library. GAuth.authorize, send the key and the code. That's it. Next, we will create a method for login, and we will create a separate data model for this user login DTO. A new object of user register data. What we are doing is just checking whether the user already exists or not. We will create a user find by username method in the repo. This method will help us to find whether the user exists or not. Before checking the code, we need to check whether the user exists. If the user exists, then we will get the secret key. And with the key and the username, we can validate. Now let's create a find by username method in interface. I will pass the username in that method, and Springboot will take care of create implementation of that method. Don't worry. Now let's create the model user login model, which will have a username and a password, 2 strings, and a code also. This is the code which is shown in the Google Auth app. And we will generate getters and setters for these 3 parameters, and a constructor also. Get back to service class and import the class. In the controller, let's create another endpoint for login. Similar to user register endpoint, this is for login, and this will take user login DTO, and we will get the key, secret key of the user by get secret key method in the service class. If the user does not exist, the method won't return a key, and we will validate that also. And before that, we will validate whether the code is correct or not. Boolean is valid equal to GAuth dot is valid. We will pass the key and the code. User login dot get code. If is valid is true, we will allow the user to log in. If it's false, I will not allow the user to log in. And we will put another if condition. If the key is empty, that means that user does not exist, and we will return that also. That's it. Now don't forget to fill up your application.property. I'm using H2 database, so I am configuring accordingly. And after that, you start your application. If you find any error, you can refer to the documentation which I have mentioned below. You will find the complete code in it. Once the application starts, check the H2 console and check whether you have the table in it. Get to postman, and method is post mapping. Let's first register a username. I'll give user and password. Also I'll give it as user. Let's send the request. Yeah, user added. Let's check in the console also. Yeah, you will find the user with the key. Now we will manually add the key in the Google Authenticator app. You can also scan the QR. To keep it simple, I am manually adding it. Now let's try to log in. User, password, and I will send the code also. And this is the code which I am getting in my Google Authenticator app. You can see now the code is also changed. Before changing, I have logged in. After changing, I am logging in, but I am unable to log in. If I retype the code again, yeah, now you can log in. That's it.